Welcome to the AI for Business podcast, where we pull back the curtain on what really works in AI. I'm Francis Ablola, co-creator of AI for Business, and this is a special behind-the-scenes episode where my co-host Brian Hansen and I share the real story of how AI for Business was created, our journey of building multiple successful ventures, what we've learned of 15 years in business together, and how to scale businesses in the AI era. We recorded this during one of our AI Happy Hour Hangouts as a lead-up to our AI for Business Live Summit. Let's get started.
Hey, this isn't a real training. This is just us hanging out and sharing some things. Last week, we had Joe Zapian on. Joe is Zapian? Joe Zapian. Yeah, last week we had Joe Zapian on. He is the one of the world's top AI automators. When I say that, he takes processes that you do manually, digitally, but manually, and he turns them into automation. And so he was on last week. That was a kind of surprise. He said he was available. We were supposed to talk about the topic of how Brian and I kind of got into business together and kind of built the company. So we'll talk about that today. But I also want to talk about preparing for the event. So Katniss there is like, what's the itinerary? Yeah, so I wanted to go in through what the itinerary, what the agenda is for the events today as well. So maybe we'll start there. We'll go in through if you guys have any questions or want to hang out. And then Brian will go ahead and sing karaoke at the end for everybody toward the end. So
don't worry, Brian. We'll make sure we have time for that. I know everybody's waiting.
So how did we get here? So last week, our topic was that we didn't cover was how did Brian and I get into business and sort of some of the things that we've learned from business today. It's been an interesting journey. So very rarely do you find business partners that have been in the business that's been 15 years now that Brian and I have been in the business. So we were in our early 20s, mid-20s, I would say mid-20s. And we used to work at a company together. We both left about the same time. Brian left and I left about three months later. And we both started our own companies. Brian started a company that sold engines and transmissions on the internet, used engines and transmissions on the internet. And I went and became a freelance copywriter and marketer and had a chance to work with so many different people. But we came back doing events simply, and this is a cool sort of learning lesson for anybody who wants to be a coach or consultant, especially in your local area, which is one of the things that we talk about in A3. Is anybody fall in that category of wanting to be a presence in their local area or maybe in a niche? Say yes in the chat if you're a coach or consultant. Awesome. All right. So we have a few of you guys. Perfect. I'm trying to stop saying you guys. I'm trying to say you or you. But yeah, we have a few of you. Brian and I started our seminar company simply because we wanted to share stuff with our people in our local area. So we went to meetup.com, which still exists and still works. We went to meetup.com and we just started doing local meetup events at libraries. They were free. And we started sharing information. And what we realized is that the people coming to that event weren't there to network anymore. They wanted to learn from us. And we had both worked in the spaces of education and training. And we thought, well, let's turn this. Instead of doing these free events, how many people do you think would actually pay to show up and buy a ticket to an event of ours? So we got a room in the Hampton Inn of Jacksonville, Florida. And I know Heather's on the call. Heather was there, right? We bought a room in Jacksonville, Florida. It only fit about 40 people. So I guess we've had fire marshal issues from the day one, but the room only fits 40 people. We crammed 90 people in that room. It wasn't planned, funny enough. We only thought like 20 people would show up and we were going to record the thing and make a product out of it. That was our goal, was let's record this because I don't know who's going to show up to an event. We charged $97 a seat. Like we were just saying, let's bring friends and family and record the thing and we'll have a product to make.
Standing room.
But it was standing room. So, that was a lot of people locally. And then we also created relationships. This is another big thing that gives you a massive advantage. And I want you to write this down. Find relationships with people that you have in your marketplace already. Find people already in your niche that has an audience and find ways to support them. So what we did was we worked with one of our friends that had a product selling into another audience. And so we said, okay, why don't we give tickets away to your customers already to our free event or to our event that we were charging $97. So everybody had $97. We gave them free event. And then all of a sudden we had 90 people show up to this event. And that was completely not by chance. It was organized. It was planned, but we didn't have the audience ourselves. So who do you have that you can piggyback in your local area to help grow your business? This was one of the things that we talked about on our Real 360 call yesterday was find groups and just be a go-giver. Find people who have your audience and find ways to give them information, give them content, give them support without asking anything in return. So we did that. The event was standing room only, 90 seats. There were people sitting on the bleachers that we used or the stands that we were using for the camera, because again, we wanted the product. And that was our first event. I remember our first event. Brian, those are your first time speaking, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So as you guys may have already noticed about me, I've become a little obsessed over things. Right now it's AI. But I was so worried about speaking and just doing a good job, really. And I'd never done it before, but I was preparing, trying to make sure my slides were right. And I mean, I spent months up to the time that the event was coming. And I was trying to get Francis to take my presentations and do them for me the day of the event because I was just nervous to get up there. And then I remember some speakers in the audience. One had been a speaker for quite a while, Ted Thomas. He's like, Brian, just don't let them know that you're nervous. Nobody's ever going to know. It's like when you tell them. And the first thing I said when I got on stage is, they told me to tell you that they told me not to tell you that I'm nervous, but I'm scared shitless up here. And this isn't water in my cup, it's vodka. And I don't drink anymore, but it was a true story. And anyway, I got up there and was talking, had no idea about the timing. So like, you got to stay on schedule. And I think I had people in the room till like 9 o'clock at night. We were supposed to end at 5. So I went 4 hours over. And all of a sudden, everybody stood up and started clapping. And I was like, well, that felt pretty good. Let's do that again. But I mean, it took me a while. I'm still nervous to get up in front of stages. I'll be nervous at this event, but just doing it, like, my gosh, I had myself worried sick. I was nervous, sick to my stomach getting on stage. But, I've heard it's the number one fear.
We were just talking about this on the way
of everything.
Yeah.
Like, people are scared of public speaking, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. I mean, not even if you might decide not to keep speaking on stages, but it just helps to be able to communicate to large groups of people, whether that's leadership or leading your team or whatever it is. It's a really good skill to have. But yeah, I did not start being comfortable whatsoever on stage. So if I look a little nervous up there now, you could only imagine what I was like back in 2010.
And I know at least Heather was there at that event. There's a few others that may have been there. That was 15 years ago, which is crazy. Yeah, we were supposed to offer our first mastermind. So we had a mastermind group back in 2010 that we started. Heather was one of our members back then as well. So thanks, Heather, for hanging out with us for 15 years now. And we were supposed to make the offer for that Saturday afternoon. And Brian went over 4 hours and nobody wanted to sit in the room for much longer to hear a presentation about a mastermind we were offering. So we had to re-engineer things and made that the next day and got 10 people to join us for a year-long commitment mastermind. And several of those people, not just one, not just two, not just four, are still with us 10, 15 years later, which is awesome. So, hey, Joel, do you mind muting out some people that need to, by the way? So that's where we started. And then so our company grew. So that was what we called intensive marketing. And we had a program called Marketer's Black Book. And so we were teaching events for people who were learning marketing and getting involved and growing their business. So for those of you that just found us recently, we've actually been around in the marketplace for 15 years now. So us doing events is not uncommon. And the big thing that I want you to take out of this whole conversation is that nothing has to be perfect. We find opportunities, we take the opportunities, we make the most out of them. That first room that we had was $200, maybe $300 to rent that room. We did it because it was the cheapest thing that we could find that was close to our house. And it was a great location. It was right on the ocean, but it was only $200, $300. We didn't want to invest a lot of money to do it, right? But, and we thought, hey, if nobody shows up, the best that can happen is we have all this content that we can use as our marketing materials online. And oftentimes we work with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs in the last 15 years now. Oftentimes, the things that stop us are the things that don't even exist yet. It's the things in our head that hold us back. It's the things that have to be perfect. It's what's the logo color, or do I have a website? I made hundreds of thousands of dollars without ever having a website in online marketing by creating relationships with people and building relationships and having them do business with the people and leveraging their assets. You can find partnership relationships without assets of your own. You can find things that you don't have to sell. Brian sold engines, right? The idea of selling engines online. Who would have thought of that? Sell anything online. And fast forward 15 years later from when we used to do that kind of stuff to what we do now, is that there's so many people, everyone has a need for something, and there's so many different markets today that even if it's, and somebody just said competition, I can't really see the chats, but somebody just said competition. Even if there's competition in the marketplace, people want to connect with you. People want to connect with you. They want to connect with understanding your personality, and they'll resonate with you that way. When they do, the whole market changes because that becomes your audience. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about today was actually building your audiences. So we started building Marketer's Black Book, which is our first sort of online seminar brand. We started building Marketer's Black Book, and we found our audience. There are people who want to learn online marketing. Things were moving really fast in that space at the time, but there's so much confusion. Same thing that we're doing with the AI space now. And we just zeroed in on who our audience was. We did about 5 events with Marketer's Black Book until we launched Real Advisors. And we just spoke to one specific audience. Now, that was an interesting business for us because Marketer's Black Book was not a full-time business for us like AI for Business is. It was a side thing that we did. We would do a couple of events a year, maybe some in between masterminds and some other things. But it net us several $100,000 in our pocket, bottom line, each for doing that for a couple of years, taking, I don't know, maybe less than 10 hours a week, less than 5 hours a week. And so you can have a business that you design that fits in your lifestyle. And for back then, this was early, and I think I maybe just started having kids. You didn't have any kids yet. When we were doing this, we were very much focused on lifestyle and freedom. And so we built a business designed like that. Fast forward, how we started Real Advisors, which is our company now. We were running our marketing seminars, but I reached out to Domar because he was the number one, in my mind. He was a real estate investor that was doing a lot of deals, and he was. In my mind, he was the guy on my Rolodex that did the most deals. He did 1,000 deals in his local market, became the one of the top investors, house flippers in South Florida. And I had just started working with the company, or just stopped working with the company that actually, I'll share the story. It was a company that got sued and shut down by the FTC. And I share this story sometimes. It's kind of interesting. Brian and I'll tell you about our internal conversations yesterday when we were working on some of our presentations. We were talking about heroes. This is a side note. And long story short, we were talking about how to become heroes to our kids. That takes me back to the story I was just telling you about this company that I worked for. They got shut down by the FTC because they were making promises and not delivering on their promises. So I got really, really tired of working for companies like that and having them as clients because to me, I wasn't proud of the work that I was doing at the time. And this was I was maybe 29, maybe 32. So this is about 10 years ago at the time doing this. And I made the decision, like, I only want to share and work with people who can truly make a difference in people's lives, because my number one goal now is to leave a legacy and be someone my kids can be proud of. That's my number one goal right now. And the work that we do accomplishes that. So I said, I want to find the number one investor in my Rolodex that I know. I want to have him teach trainings and find people like that and only share things that are going to truly change people's lives. And that was the whole basis around Real Advisors. That's actually why we called it. It was Advisors Education, why we changed the name to Real Advisors, because we're training real operators, showing real people, real information that works. That became the driving force of everything that we do in our company. And that's how we operate today. So we started Real Advisors. The company actually grew very, very fast. And we started teaching real estate trainings to active investors and grew that and became a massive seminar company. We were doing 200-300 person events almost every other week. online, or not online. I mean, in person. That was until about March of 2020. And I don't know if anybody knows what happened then, but it was not very friendly to the seminar market. And in one instance, a multiple seven figure, we were about to do our first $10 million year that year. An 8-figure company got eliminated because of the global shutdown. And so the lessons learned from that is you have to figure out how to pick yourself back up. A lot of people in our space did not exist after that. So there's a lot of companies that were in the training space that just shut down and haven't opened back up, and a lot of new people coming in. But we had to make some decisions. There's tons of times, and there's a whole bunch of stories behind this of how our CEO at the time was actually one of the first people that we knew about was hospitalized. They were about to put him on a ventilator. At the same time, we were talking about, are we going bankrupt? Like, what do we do with we had about 60 employees and 60 team members at the time. What do we do with this thing? And I don't know. It would have been a great time to just give up, but that part wasn't in us, right? Right, Brian? Like, I mean, it felt like it sometimes. Like, I won't lie to you and say that, we were going to push through no matter what, all odds. There's so much doubt, so much fear, and so much uncertainty in our lives, just like everyone else in the world. And there's been other times in our business where we felt these ups and downs, but that was sort of getting through that. And I think this is another really big takeaway from our conversation today as an entrepreneur. Getting through that makes you stronger. And anything that you experience in your business that gives you those bumps and bruises, there's a Jim Rohn quote that I love. I was very fortunate to learn from Jim Rohn at an early age. But Jim Rohn says, don't wish for things to be easier, wish for you to be better. Don't wish for things to be easier, wish for you to be better. And we became better from it. We've had tons of other problems in our business. We've had programs that didn't work. We've had employees directly steal from us. We've had people who we turned our company over to as operations and actually completely rob our bank accounts of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all of those things have made us stronger. And those big moments make the small moments that what we thought would have been very difficult to deal with much easier. So we really cherish that kind of stuff. Fast forward, how did we come up with AI for business? I told the story actually earlier today at the event we were just at. It was really Brian and Victor. I don't know if you've ever met Victor on our team. Victor introduced us to OpenAI Playground before ChatGPT came out, maybe close to a year before ChatGPT came out. Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. Yeah. So before ChatGPT officially came out, we were playing around with OpenAI Playground. It was really cool, but it wasn't nowhere near what it is today. And was that the point you got obsessed, or was it ChatGPT?
No, it was right away.
So right away. So we saw this, and Brian has this obsessive mindset. He digs into things. Do you want to talk a little bit about that journey of discovering AI and how we jumped into things?
Yeah, but before I do, I kind of want to rewind a little bit because Francis was talking about picking yourself back up, and sometimes it's about getting started in the first place. And so I always wanted to do my own business. Mainly, I always thought like I was going to have all the freedom in the world and all this money and no worries. Initially, you can have all that, but going into it, like it's really not that right away. Usually it's you got to grind and do stuff. But there was some lessons I learned that I just to share. One, somebody said competition. I was so scared of competition. Like the market's saturated. There's too many competitors. I learned that competitors are a good thing. So competitors and a bunch of competition means whatever you're going after works. And that's why there's a lot of people in it, because there's money to be made. So you just have to figure out like what sets you apart from those people. And that becomes your USP and what makes you different. And we got so good at USPs that we were outselling real marketers for their own brands in some cases. We became affiliates for like traffic and conversion funnels, for example. They did a book creation launch, and we canvassed the entire front page with our stuff, from knowing how to sell products. And our USP with that, by the way, you're probably wondering, how did we sell more, become selling more than they could sell themselves on Google? It's because we offered a USP. What we did, we sold their stuff with our bonuses. So if they bought it from us, they actually got a better deal than they got buying it from them directly. So like competition, you got to figure out what sets yourself apart from the rest of them. The other thing is people saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have the skill set. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Like when you're armed with these kind of tools, you just have to pick something. I mean, I wasn't excited about car parts. And not only was that a super competitive niche, like very competitive, it's auto parts. But I don't even know how to change my own oil. I know nothing about car parts. I just picked a need. It was kind of something I learned from Gary Halbert, is you want to find a starving crowd. At that time, people were fixing their cars. This was the first crash way back many years ago, the big one. They weren't buying new cars. They were fixing the ones they had. So I was like, I'm going to start selling BMW engines. And then I realized that moat was kind of shallow. So I wanted to expand that. I started selling all car engines. Then I started selling all car engines and all car transmissions. Then I started selling transfer cases and turbos. And before I knew it, I'm like one of the biggest engine and transmission companies in North America. And I'm selling all these kind of parts and I have no clue what I'm doing, but I have the tools to do it. Like when you kind of have you start to get that marketing mindset, now it's much easier than it even was back then, because there's all this AI to write all this stuff, create all this stuff. It's all right in front of you. So one is the competitive thing. You got to look at that as a good thing. The other thing is like telling yourself you don't have a skill set. You don't need to have a skill set. You need to pick something and run after it. And you can use these tools. If it's something you're passionate about, it is better. I always tell this story where I'm passionate about any business because I like marketing. So if I can drive leads and I can drive sales, I'm passionate about it. I don't care if it's auto parts or not. And then the other thing I learned, that I think there was 3 kind of lessons that we talked about in this call, is that thing of me stepping on stage. I realized that when you're complaining about where you are in life, or you want to make more money or do other things, typically that thing that scares the crap out of you, in my case, it was speaking in front of people, is the thing that's holding you back from getting to that level that you're wanting so badly. And so that thing that seems so hard that you just don't want to do it, you keep making excuses why not to do it. Like even when people are launching businesses, they'll keep saying like, I'm going to launch. I need business cards. I need a website. I need this. They're like grasping for reasons why they can't do it. When like Francis was telling a story just yesterday, he didn't have a website when he created his massive agency company. He literally just started telling people what he did and delivering value with no nothing. And so that's another thing that I've learned, is there's usually something that you're scared to death to do. And that's the actual thing that's keeping you from going next level. And I've learned that over and over when I'm taking the next step, because we all get plateaued at some point. So anyway, I went way off of Francis's question. But I wanted to touch back on that stuff because I think it's important to share.
I think we were talking about what launched us into AI.
Yeah, the launch of AI.
For a second, give you some background. So before we launched AI for Business, we still have our real estate investing brand. So this is one that people don't realize. So we actually have a completely separate 7-figure business that we run in addition to this group. So right now, AI for Business will do several million this year. We launched it last year, but we also have this really big coaching and education company and a real estate investing business in addition to what we do. Now, Brian and I aren't in the real estate investing side, but we are on the real estate investing coaching side. We do run that business and the operations. Dolmar actually runs the real estate investing company itself.
Yeah.
So one is we have a really great team. So to help manage these things, I get a lot of how do you guys handle all of these things? It's because we have a great team. But I will tell you, when we launched AI for Business, we did not take any of the resources from our other companies, even add dollars to launch this business. So that's another thing that's super important to realize, is you don't need to start with a lot. Now, what we did have was kind of going on what you just said about skill set. I actually truly believe that you should build key skill sets in your business. It's so important to find the key skill sets that you need to take over a marketplace. That's what we have. That's what we teach. Really, if you think about what we teach in AI business, we teach a lot of AI. But the stuff that I want to teach you, especially when we go into Real 360 and A3, is how to position yourself and how to sell and how to be a marketer. Using AI. Now, we didn't have the resources of our company. It was literally credit cards. We spent $50 a day on ads. Spent $50 a day on ads. Then we turned that into $200 a day. And now we're spending $3,000 to $4,000 a day on ads, I think, for our virtual event. Our virtual events didn't go well at first until they did. We kept pushing forward. Then we sold, it wasn't our $97 Pro program. Actually, I think our first time we did our virtual events, they were $1,000 to enter. So we charged upfront for the events. And we were selling a $8,000 or $12,000 package first. Now we changed the market to get more people in the door. So we're very flexible. And that's something that a lot of people are very, I see a lot of entrepreneurs who are very rigid in their thinking about what they need to do and what they do next. I'm very flexible and I always spot opportunities and I adapt to the marketplace. And so the more you're able to adapt to the marketplace, their wants and their desires, their needs, that's going to help you really find that audience to sell. Now, I got off track of what I was saying.
No, we're talking about how do we like actually launch the AI for business. And, you know, I think the AI industry and becoming an AI influencer and agency or whatever, it's one of the best opportunities out right now because everybody's pretty new. Like when we launched, I mean, there wasn't really AI experts a couple of years ago. I really took after the AI side because I've always been a loopholes guy. I'm looking for the tools and resources to get things done faster, cheaper, and better than I can get it done on my own, which is why I really gravitated towards using a lot of virtual assistants and a lot of different marketing tools. Some of them I still share. I've been using tools like SEMrush and certain things for many years. And when I saw the AI stuff, I just saw the writing on the wall. It was the ultimate shortcut that I've ever seen in my entire life. And it just seems to keep like giving you another shortcut and another shortcut. Every single week that goes by, it's either something coming out or we're learning how to use the stuff that we have better. But it's the ultimate loophole. And in a combination with that, what I was saying before the mute button got put on, AI is one of those industries where you can be the expert a lot easier than you could have before. So like all these other industries, whether it's car parts or, you know, insurance or whatever it is, there's been somebody else out there doing it for the last 40 years with a ton of experience. That's not the case with AI. So back 2 years ago, like nobody was even an expert. Now there's like you're seeing a lot of AI hype because it's so powerful. But if you meld whatever your niche is or what you're doing together with the power of AI, you can become an expert in AI in that specific niche. There's a lot of opportunity out there. And as you can see, like by watching what Francis and I are doing and us showing you some of the stuff, the things that we use are so easy, and relaying that to other people on how they can use that stuff, it's easy to comprehend how that's going to help them. And it's kind of this built-in market where there's really not many business owners out there that don't realize that they're going to have to adapt to AI at some point, even if they're being stubborn about it now. They realize that, hey, this thing's probably not going away now. This is serious. I don't want to use it, but I feel like I'm going to have to start learning about this thing. But the thing is, most of them haven't. At best, they might have started using ChatGPT. So we just kind of got into this market where now we're considered one of the biggest AI companies in the world. And it started as just an idea. And so it kind of, I don't know how he puts it because it's so much more elegant than what I'm going to say. But Patrick Precourt, who teaches our calls for pro members, most of you are probably on those. It's on Thursday. He asks like if your actions are reflecting what you're actually saying that you want. And so like that's one of the most important things to make the stuff happen. We can say like we want to have an AI agency or we want to do this, but are your actions really reflecting what you're saying you want? And that could go for personal things like I want to lose 20 pounds or I want to do whatever. Are your actions reflecting what you say you want? Are you really that serious about it? And I think that's what really makes the difference with all the AI trainers, agencies, and all that kind of stuff is, are they putting in the work? Are they really that serious about doing it, or are they not? And so with AI, I got really, really serious. We all got very serious. And I got to the point where that's all I thought about all day. And if you turn into that person for what you're going after, it's just going to happen. I don't know if it's always going to go the way that you thought it was going to go. It might like start to turn off in a different direction. The business, it morphs. Like our business right now is nothing like we thought it was going to be when we first started. Yep. So it kind of morphs, but you start to see progress and things happen. And that's just taking the actions, because words are just words. It's the follow through and continuing to do something about it. It's really got us where we are today. But that is kind of.
Oh, hold up, Brian. I think I'm gonna lost the audience.
So we lose again?
Lost the audience for that call.
You're still there.
Oh, we're still here. All right.
We're still here. We haven't lost you.
We didn't lose it.
Correct. Anyway, but yeah, everything starts with an idea, and then it just comes down to how much energy you're willing to put into it to make it a reality. I know that sounds pretty simple, but that's really the trick.
Yep.
Figure out what you're going to do and make your actions reflect what the goal you want is, and seriously ask yourself, am I doing the things that I'm doing every day reflecting the goal that I want to achieve? And if they're not, well, you got to fix it.
So I want to go back to when we started AI for Business specifically, because I think this is a really good story for anybody who's looking to be a influencer, or influencer is the wrong word. I don't mean like social media influencer. I mean someone who influences others with their content, their business, their lives. When we started, I don't know if you remember this, Brian, is it was a side thing to capture Brian's obsession with. We still had another business to run. And so we didn't take any of our team to run this business. So the first thing that we did was say, all right, well, why don't we just start a Facebook group? It was called AI for Consultants, Coaches, and Business Owners was the first name, right?
Something like that.
And because Brian was like, I want to do a webinar on Midjourney. Yeah, I need a landing page. Well, all of our team was super busy on other projects. And so I said, hey, just start a Facebook group. And that's where the idea came from. It wasn't pre-planned. It wasn't something that we thought about for weeks and weeks and weeks. It wasn't something that we even had a logo for. It was, hey, you want to do a call? Let's invite a bunch of people from our Facebook profiles to our Facebook group where we'll talk about Midjourney. That was it. There was no other thought. And then as we started adding more, taking more progress in the space, yes, Virginia, flying by the seat of your pants. That's exactly what we did. None of the resources from our team were available. So it's almost like we're starting a whole different company. We didn't use any finances from our other company. It was our own personal cards to grow paid ads. We had a little bit of our time from our assistants that we had on our team, but it was just, let's get a webinar up. If it didn't go, and I do have a head start. I know how to build funnels. I knew all those things. I just didn't have time. So if you find yourself in that same place and you feel stuck, what's the thing that you can do the fastest that's going to give you the biggest return as quickly as possible? Is it starting an email list? Is it creating a Facebook page, Facebook profile? Is it whatever you need to do to get into that marketplace now? Do it, right? Is it creating a list on your own personal Facebook page, every Facebook page? It doesn't say, I am the AI expert now, or I am this person. I saw that on Shane. I don't know if Shane's on with us right now. I don't know what time it is in Australia, probably about 3 a.m.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter for Shane, but he posted this morning that I am positioning myself as the AI expert on his personal profile. And I gave applause, and he texted me back. And he was like, I hope Shane doesn't feel, I don't call him out on this, but he just said something that's, along the lines of he wasn't ready to post that, but he did it anyway. I commend him for that. And so many people aren't willing to put themselves out enough. And Dolmar talks about this in the real estate training, by the way, right? Dolmar talks about this. He says, if you are a secret agent about your business, how are you supposed to grow? And that's the case for so many people. It does not have to be a perfect. Just do not be a secret agent. And that's how we grew this whole brand. It's so funny that we have, you guys know us for AI for Business. so many other people know us for our real estate brand. In fact, our real estate brand is way bigger than AI for businesses right now in the space that we've been. So when we're at an event like this, they know us as real advisors, and those guys know AI. And so we have to introduce them to this whole brand that you guys know about. It's a weird sort of dynamic, but I just wanted to stress that like it doesn't have to be perfect. Just get out there and do it. You get results and you grow from your results. They might start small, but if you do it the right way, it's exponential. And you grow and you grow and you grow. And our goal for you, the reason why we created the Pro program, the Pro program is $97 a month. Our highest level program right now is $18,000. Why is there a difference? Well, we want to get to the mass volume of people who have the ability to make an investment in themselves at $97 and give them a lot of value to one day, whether it's a month, 3 months, 5 years, 15 years from now, because we've been here for 15 years, you'll do more business with us. Or you'll have an amazing business that we can share your success story. So we're not looking for that quick fix. And so, yeah, that's how AI for Business was born. That it wasn't calculated until it became something that we said, all right, let's put some time in. Yeah, you can tell it's not perfect. It's not perfection to be. You don't have to be a perfectionist not to be perfect. There we go. So that's where we are. We got 10 minutes in. I want to share that story. It's so important. As we're building the plane as we fly and everything that we do. Sometimes it's harder. There's growing pains. We've had lots of growing pains in our business. We're constantly dealing with support. And I think the other night I got into the support inbox and just handling support stuff myself, which I haven't done in a very long time. But I had to figure out, it's like, all right, we need to get some people answering some questions for that. I'm finding ways, to support our team. We're growing our team. And we're always looking for people to add and add value. So, yeah, Ryan, anything else you want to add on this topic? We're about to wrap up.
I mean, just go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like for real, one of the best pieces of advice is just start telling people what you do. Or like, even if you don't sell something, like just go start helping people do it. Like tell somebody that you'll help them do whatever it is for free. One, you'll get a testimonial, but I'll tell you one thing, some of the people that have gotten paid the most money from us are the ones that came and offered something for free in the first place.
No.
They got their foot in the door. We realized like we can trust them to do really good work. And we asked if we could start paying them money. That's happened multiple times. Because there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of static out there. You don't know who to listen to. So, one thing you could probably do just to get started is, ask people if you can help them. You have a testimonial now. You have proof. You can figure out like what you did right and what you did wrong and fix that. But just get out there and start at. I was telling the story recently. I did an interview with Spencer Razkoff, the CEO, founder of Zillow. And he teaches startups at Harvard University. And one of the biggest lessons that he has is just get out there and do it. He's like, everybody overanalyzes, very aligned with what I've been saying on this call. But he's like, you don't really know what you're going to offer until you actually get out there and start offering it. It all changes because the people you're selling it to, they teach you things that you didn't know. You thought you knew because you think you might know everything with certain things. But then you sell it and you're like, wow, I got to add this or I got to take this out. And he's like, that's where my products and my stuff comes alive is when I give it out to market. And yes, you're going to make mistakes. That's okay. But those mistakes are what lead you to having the best product out there, the best service. So, just get out and stop giving yourself excuses why you can't do it and just get out and make it happen. And for those of you that are like in your business right now, you're already business owners, just continue to want to evolve, never get comfortable. We made that mistake before. COVID was one of the times where it completely destroyed us. We got comfortable and we thought like, what could possibly hurt us right now? Well, who on earth would have ever thought that was going to happen? Like that shouldn't have happened. Like we should have been able, like we can't have events at hotels for real, and that was part of us getting comfortable because we kept talking about doing virtual trainings and having that as part of our roadmap, but we kept putting it off. So, continue. If you continue to keep your moving forward and don't let yourself slow down. It's going to be hard for people to outpace you for stuff like that to happen. And that wouldn't have happened to us, by the way, if we would have been moving forward and not getting too lazy because things were going good. So a couple of things that I'd leave you with.
The last thing, and this is why events are so important, and I want to leave it at this. We'll wrap up. And again, if you're not going to be in Orlando and you want to be in Orlando, register now. What the link in the chat for you guys. We have a few more days. But relationships. You're going to meet people at the Orlando event, and you're going to have relationships with them. And here's what I want you to do. I don't want you thinking and meeting somebody at the event and saying, what can I do to get business from them now? That's the last conversation that anybody wants to be a part of. And you can't build relationships that way. So Brian and I just spoke at an event called Collective Genius. It's the mastermind of the top real estate investors in the country, the best people out there. The owner of the group, his name is Jason. I've known Jason, Brian and I have known Jason for 15 years now. I did work with him. I did some work with him past. And we had a great relationship. We actually haven't done anything financially together in 15 years. But you know what we have done? Is we've been really cool, added value to the community, and just been there and added value to every chance we got. And that's how you build long-term relationships. And so now he has a community from running for 8 years or more, maybe 10 years now. And when he thinks of, hey, we need some people to speak on this subject, he calls us. Not because we're fast growing, not because of all that. There's tons of people who speak on this subject. It's because of the relationship. So find that relationship. Don't go in saying, what can I get out of this? Just go in saying, what can I give? That's how we run everything. So awesome. We're at time. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to ask us?
I would say you can't get VIP anymore. That's
there is no VIP.
But we're about done with putting people in there. So for those that are coming, it's gonna be full.
Yeah.
But you might not be able to get a ticket in the next couple days. We're over 500. I don't know the exact capacity of the room, but I believe it's 500 some. So we're narrowing down to being done with tickets. But as France is saying, networking, you're going to have a very full room of people to network with there. So looking forward to it.
One of the biggest things that have leveled me up in life was just connecting with people that are so like-minded. Like Brian and I met by chance just because we worked at the same company.
Crazy day to meet too.
Crazy. Yeah. Our first day on the job, by the way, my first day on the job, not his, but we were boarding our boss's jet, flying to Dan Kennedy's mastermind. That was my first day of the job at 23 years old. It was wild to think about. And anyway, you never know who you're going to be. Be cool to everybody. Create those relationships. And right now, if you are, do me a favor, put Orlando in the chat if you're going to Orlando. Find somebody else who's going to be in Orlando that you don't know and plan to have lunch with them one day. Like if you're in the pro community talking to people, find people that you can build relationships with because your network is so important. Meet people at the event, go to lunch with them, take that time, build the relationships, create relationships there, build study partners, build business partners, do whatever you can to meet as many people as you can. But I know I seem not like an introvert, but I truly am. I go to an event, I meet 2 or 3 key people, and I build real relationships with those people over time. Some of my closest friends I met at events when I was in my early 20s, 15, 20 years ago. And we meet on a regular basis still today. And all of us have grown our businesses. I was one group, we called ourselves the Florida Boys, because there was an event in Florida. We were all in our early 20s, and we met there at an event. Among that list, there are 3 people who were all in our 20s, didn't have a business. In that list now, 3 of us have been on the E5000 list more than one time. How does that happen? Kids in their 20s that had no business, 10 years later, now 3 of us, maybe even 4, have companies that have been on the fastest growing private list of American companies in America, and have multiple 7 and some of us 8-figure companies. It's because of the people that you're around. You want to create those relationships. You want to build those relationships with people that are at events, that are going, that are learning, and that you can support. And that's it. So, cool. All right. Hit me up at Circle. There you go. Michael's a huge thank you, Michael, by the way, for being a huge supporter of our community. That's Jay this year. She should be asleep now. So, let's see. Keep at it, guys. Awesome. Thanks, Kim. All right. That's it. One last shout out. Oh, Shane is here. Do you sleep, Shane? Wow. Awesome. Shane is a huge supporter of our community also. Vivian. Yeah, so many of you guys. I love seeing, what I like about this format, by the way, is us being able to see each other face to face also, which is so awesome. With that said, that's our hangout time for today.
That's a wrap for this episode of the AI for Business podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit subscribe and pass it along to a friend or colleague. We appreciate you being here, and we'll catch you in the next one.